I'm taking over the Monster Bass YouTube channel to bring you my 5 early season, early spring fishing techniques for the Midwest. Once the ice is melted off and the water starts to heat up a little bit, it's no secret that swim baits like this Big Bite Baits Cane Thumper are a great way to start your season, as we recently witnessed during the Major League Fishing Red Crest event. We saw pros skipping swim baits under docks, around piles, rocks, working those pre-spawn bass, a lot around points, docks, anything where there might be warmer areas. What are some easy ways to swim these swim baits? Grab that pack of Z-Man Finesse Eyes that you got last year from Monster Bass. Toss it on one of these Cane Thumpers or a Strike King Rage Menace. If you don't have any of those, you can grab your little ball head jig and throw it on there and swim it back nice and easy. Again, on a spinning rod, 12-pound test line, you'll be set. If you're fishing in deeper water, you can go with like a belly weighted hook. But my favorite in the early season, that's right, an underspin. It seems like most of the time the first fish of the year that I catch is on a swim bait with a nice underspin blade. Now, if your water's super stained, because in the spring, you know how it is, it rains a lot, bringing dirt off of the banks, the creeks, and then stain your water, make it look like your mom's coffee when she stops you know where. Generally, I would grab a big single Colorado blade spinnerbait in black and blue, or maybe really chartreuse. But last year I decided to try something different based on a new bait that Z-Man came out with. That's right, the one that came in this month's Z-Man Takeover box, the Big Blade Chatterbait, bringing that thump in that stained water. Last year, towards the end of March, my brother and I were out at our honey hole. The water was super stained from all the rain, and this bait was one of the keys to the single best fishing day we had last year. We probably caught 20 to 25 bass ranging in the 2.5 to 5 pound mark. Fish after fish after fish on the Z-Man Big Blade Chatterbait. I love black and blue and stained water, and this Big Bite Baits Kamikaze Swim On was the key to success. And this black and blue swirl or hematoma, yep, still on the Monster Bass website, easy to find. Better grab you some before I reload for the spring, because this thing is going to get thrown a lot as soon as I get out for our first fishing trip of the year. If you don't have any Kamikaze Swim-Ons, another bait that we've got in the Monster Bass box over the last year, the Z-Man Razor Shad. This one in the color called The Deal. And it's truly the deal because the tail action on this thing is flat out phenomenal. Next up, a bait I never would have suspected I would have thought would become one of my favorites early in the season. A couple years ago, I was out not catching a thing. I threw everything but the kitchen sink. But then I remembered a video that Alex Rudd put out talking about his hammerhead silent squarebill. I actually had my Monster Bass box that literally had this mud hunter colored squarebill in it. Tied it on my spinning rod because really I only brought a spinning rod and a bait caster with me that day, and proceeded to catch fish. And I mean, I'm telling you, I was really skeptical about this bait, but that day, this crankbait tore them up. And I've actually started collecting these now because it's kind of a throwback to my real introduction to Monster Bass. And here it was, Monster Bass bait coming to save the day. Collaboration, Alex Rudd, Messer Baits, beautiful paint schemes, and this color combination in the stained water, again, saved the day. I mean, I had been to that lake twice already. When you're making trips, you know, 50-mile round trips in 8 hours a day and not getting bit, this bait happened to be the one that broke open the season and honestly made me an even bigger fan of Monster Bass. Now, when it comes down to it, sometimes you might be out a little too early before the bass are really active. They may still be in that lethargic state from the winter where their metabolism's still slow. They're not really heating up yet. They're eating every now and then. One bait that always catches me big bass, especially early in the season. If you get out and work around some shallow water where those bass are moved up trying to absorb all the sun they can, if you got a rock bank along a bridge, riprap, things like that, where those bass will be trying to move up into that rock to absorb any amount of heat that they can from the longer days and the warming days, but the water temps are still cool. But a great bait for enticing a big bite early in the season. That's right, jigs. Specifically like a finesse jig, like these Strike King structure jigs. 1/4 ounce, 3/8. I believe these are 3/8. This one, this green pumpkin one I use for clear water, paired up with the Missile Baits Baby D-Bomb. This is the custom burly candy color. And over here on the black and blue jig, a Strike King Rage Menace. A shortened Strike King Rage Crawl is another great option for these smaller finesse type jigs. Now sometimes the bass want the baits to fall even slower. Grab you some Z-Man Hella Craws. These are made out of a material called Elastec, which is somewhat buoyant. That will slow that jig fall even more, really getting that bass's attention as it watches the bait drop into the water. This is a bait that I'll cast quite often. I'll pitch it out, I'll wait for it to hit the bottom, I might give it a hop or two, and then I'm reeling in and casting right back out again. The bass this time of year are mostly hitting the baits on the fall. They're not waiting for it to get all the way to the bottom to start crawling along. They're hitting it on the fall. So pitch it out, let it sink all the way to the bottom, give it a twitch. If you don't get a bite, reel it in, do it again. Take your time and keep your fingers on that line during the fall and be ready to set that hook as soon as you feel the bite. Now some places you might be fishing, say if you're walking along a dam, you might not have access to a lot of shallow water. You might be fishing a little bit deeper. So in that case, you might have to grab a bigger jig, like this War Eagle Jiu-Jitsu that you can pick up on the Monster Bass site. That was the winning bite in the Bassmaster Classic recently. What kind of trailer do you want to pair it up? Can't believe I'm giving away the secret sauce, but this is actually a really good one that's on the Monster Bass website. You got to go look for it. And again, you better go get you some before I snatch the rest of them up, because I've already bought 5 bags of each color for this season. The Gary Yamamoto Flappin' Frog. One in a crushed perch, the other one in black blue. One for clearer water, one for stained water. These will flat out catch them. Telling you, you better go get you some of these. Last technique for early season. Again, when the water's still really cold. Easy to use on a spinning rod, a bait that basically works year round, but especially good in that cold to warmer water transition. That's right, a jerkbait. Oh, the jerkbait. Twitch, twitch, pause. Twitch, twitch, pause. This is a suspending jerkbait because I kind of want to keep that bait. I'll reel it down to where I want it, but I want to kind of keep that bait floating in the same spot in the water column, like it's a dying or slow moving shad. Those bass will be sitting down on the bottom, look up, and we'll hammer this thing during that pause. If that water's still a little colder, give it a longer pause. 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Twitch, twitch. 3, 2, 1. Twitch, twitch. Let it sit. These bass, a lot of times, if they won't hit anything else, if they see a slow-moving or a lethargic bait fish, they're gonna come get it. Why? Because it's easy prey. And there we have it, my 5 early season Midwest bass techniques to help you get out and catch your personal best. If you're on Facebook, come find us on Monster Bass Nation. Share your pictures, your tips, your trips out with your buddies, having a good time. Down in the description is going to be a link to a page I put together with all these baits on the Monster Bass website. I'll be back next month to share another round of tips and tricks. Until next time, get outside when you can and make some memories. One cast at a time.